Good evening, students. This is chapter number 1 of part C book. Right now, we are discussing about the parts of balance sheet which is given in the schedule 6. First, we are discussing about the liabilities part. That is, main head is equities and liability. In equity and liability, there are three things. We can say three main head. First is shareholder fund, second is non-current liability, third is current liability. So, in shareholder fund, there are three heads: share capital, reserve and surplus, and share warrant. Right now, if the question is asking about explain the head and subhead of the given part and the question. So the head which is asking right now, just if we are discussing about the share capital. If we are discussing about share capital, in share capital there are three things: authorized share capital, issued share capital, and subscribed share capital. If the question is asking that where the authorized share capital is recorded, so we have to say the head is share capital and the main head is shareholder fund. If the question is asking about same issued share capital, so the head is share capital and main head is shareholder fund. If question is asking about subscribed share capital, then subscribed share capital is a part of share capital and share capital is a part of shareholder fund. So right now we are discussing about the reserve and surplus. So in reserve and surplus there are following elements are included. So these are subheads. These the blue pen answers which are given is subhead and the black pen are main heads. So in reserve and surplus, capital redemption reserve, general reserve, workman compensation reserve, capital reserve, debenture redemption reserve, revaluation reserve, and surplus, that is balance in profit and loss account, are recorded. Same with this share warrant. In share warrant, nothing is recorded. It is not. It is a part of shareholder fund. Right now, up we are coming in non-current liability, the second main head. In non-current liabilities, there are four head. First is long-term borrowing, second is deferred tax liability, third is other long-term liability, fourth is long-term provisions. First of all, we are discussing about long-term borrowing. In long-term borrowings, we have bonds or debentures, term loan. Term loan is subdivided into two categories. If we are taken from banks and other financial institutions. Other financial institutions like friends, relative, other banks which are not nationalized are the part of other financial institution. And the next is public deposits. Now वी आर डिस्कसिंग अबाउट डिफर्ड टैक्स लाइबिलिटी. डिफर्ड टैक्स लाइबिलिटी के अंदर कुछ नहीं आता है. सो इफ दे आर आस्किंग अबाउट डिफर्ड टैक्स लाइबिलिटी, इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ नॉन करेंट लाइबिलिटी. Next is other long term liability. Other long term liabilities include trade payables, which is more than 12 months. Other long term liability includes trade payable which is more than 12 months, and others. Others like other than trade payables like bills payable are the part of others. The last is long term provision. In long term provisions there are following things like provision for employee benefits. Provision we are making for employee benefits. Now in current liability there are four heads. First is short term borrowing, second is trade payables, third is other current liability, fourth is short term provision. If we are talking about short term borrowings include लॉन्ग टर्म लोन्स रिपेबल ऑन डिमांड, जो डिमांड पे किए जाते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज बैंक ओवरड्राफ्ट, नेक्स्ट इज कैश क्रेडिट, फोर्थ इज डिपॉजिट्स, फिफ्थ इज अदर लोन्स एंड एडवांसेस, so the last is other loans and advances. Now we are talking about trade payables. In trade payables only two things are recorded: sundry creditors and payable. अब याद रखने वाली बात यहाँ पे है कि sundry creditors यहाँ पे भी है और यहाँ पे भी है. ये मोर देन 12 मंथ्स वाले हैं और ये लेस देन 12 मंथ्स वाले हैं. क्वेश्चन में आपके पास स्पेसिफाई होगा कि कौन सा 12 मंथ्स वाला है, कौन सा 12 मंथ से कम है. अगर कुछ भी स्पेसिफाइड नहीं होता तो हमें करंट लायबिलिटी में ट्रेड पेबल्स को ट्रीट करना है. Next is other current liability. Other current liability includes current maturities, long-term debt, interest on debentures, outstanding interest, unpaid dividend, and income received in advance. These are the part of other current liability. And short-term provisions, provision for employee benefit, provision for tax, proposed dividend, and provision for expenses are recorded. So these are the chart of equity and liability. These three are main head. These all written in black ink are heads, and these are subhead. These many can ask in the question. You have to specify these are recorded in this and this. This cover the 4 mark question in the board examination.